Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on enhanced customer experience with immersive technologies to drive sales. Now, uh, if I may just quickly request that if you can just turn off your microphone for the time being, please. And in the end, we'll have a Q&A time where you will, depending on the need be, you can turn on your mic to ask question, or you're always welcome to drop your question in the chat box as well, and I'm sure we'll have a look at it. So this webinar is a part of a webinar series, which is delivered by William J. Clinton Leadership Institute at Queen's Business School and in partnership with the Digital Transformation Flexible Fund. And the key purpose of this webinar series is to support the digital transformation journey of the local micro and small businesses. And as I said, it's a webinar series, and there are still two more to go. And feel free to register for those. And you can find more information scanning the QR code. I'm going to display the QR code in the end as well, or you can also visit our website for more details. Now, let me introduce myself and my guest quickly. So my name is Dr. Niladri Palit. I work in the area of information technology, analytics, and operations at Queen's Business School within the Queen's University Belfast. I'm joined by my guest, Mr. Michael McGlade. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, yes, I am Michael McGlade and I'm the creative director at Rover in our studio, Yellow Design.
Thanks, Michael. So before I head on to the core agenda of our webinar today, which is around immersive technology, let me quickly go through some of the fundamental information around DTFF and what it is and who are the target audience and etc. etc. So it's a demand-led capital grant scheme, and it is altogether 7.5 million capital grant is available at the port. It's a total amount, and it is delivered by all the local government organizations within Northern Ireland, but it is administered by the Newry Down and District Council, and it is also supported by InvestNI. And the key purpose is to help your business transformation by easing your financial barrier. So the money, the funding you get, that is aimed at towards your business transformation. And there are some eligibility requirements. You must be a small or a micro organization with less than 50 employees and based an organization based in Northern Ireland and actively trading for at least 12 months and VAT registered. Now, there are certain exceptions and flexibilities around VAT registration. Rather than I do the talking, what I would encourage you to do is to visit the website of DTFF and you will find more information around those. And the two key requirements are that you need to buy one or more of the 6 digital technologies outlined in the DTFF website. And it has an application process, and during the application, you need to submit a digital transformation plan or equivalent of that. And I'll come back to that at the end as well. And it's a 6-stage process. At the moment, there is no live application opportunities, but we are hoping that the fourth call will go live sometimes around February, March time in 2025. Again, for more information, please visit dtff.co.uk or scan the QR code. Now, at this stage, I would like to just double check if there is any question, anyone. So in the chat box, I can't see any question. If anyone has any question, just shout out. No? Okay, so let's move on then. So The agenda for today's webinar is like first I will go ahead with talking about what are immersive technologies, and I will showcase some of the examples, and then I would hand over to my guest Michael, where Michael will showcase some examples from his company, and then I will quickly come back to get your head around some further help and support mechanisms, and then finally I will open the floor for some Q&A. That's the plan, okay? So let's start. So let's start with some fun facts, because I always love fun facts when it comes to these fancy techs. Has any one of you have seen the movie Minority Report? If so, just type Y or yes in the chat box, and if not, you can just stay quiet or say no, but it would be good to have some responses. So feel free to type it out in your chat box. Okay, at least one of us have. Okay, one yes, one no. No, okay. Well, to be honest, I'm not also much into the sci-fi type of movies, but those who have seen, you probably remember Tom Cruise, the scene where Tom Cruise was navigating a screen pretty much in the thin air to fetch some information. So that's one sort of immersive tech. Now, how about how many of us are, or rather have seen the popular BBC series called Death in Paradise? Anyone? Death in Paradise? Anyone? No? Okay. Okay, some yes. Okay, very good. Now, those who have seen, do you remember the famous character Harry the Green Lizard? Okay, so those who remember Harry the Green Lizard, I must disappoint you that it's not a real lizard. The last detective in one of the TV shows unveiled that Harry is not a real lizard. Harry was a brainchild of CGI. So that CGI has helped them to create some sort of augmented effect. Now, what are those? Like those type of like, reality, but not quite the reality. So we call those some sort of immersive tech that, some sort of simulated visualization or simulated effects. Now, if I look through academic journals as part of my job role is to do that because that's what my bread and butter. And there are plenty of examples. What are those immersive techs, etc. And I'm not going to bring those in. I can assure you of that for today's purpose. But even if I look at some of the well-known companies, how they have defined, I mean, again, various organizations have various definitions. But if I'm to understand what are those in more of a layman's term, the best analogy I can get is comparing it with the immersive swimming technique, and which is again like one of the swimming techniques, if I'm not wrong, being coined by one of the famous Japanese swimming trainers and on immersive swimming. So the key notion is immerse yourself into the water to experience the water. A similar type of notion goes here as well. The technology is there to help you to create some sort of virtual experience, immerse yourself to that. And depending on the degree of your immersion, we have various terminologies like in augmented reality, the real world around you is not replaced. Rather, on that real world, you superimpose some, graphics, pictures, text. Those who have used Google Lens, they can probably, connect with me straight away, what I'm going to say in a moment's time. So Google Lens, most of the Android phone these days have Google Lens, if not all. Then on, if I allow my Google Lens to scan, then let's say for example, I mean, this summer I had the fortune of traveling Europe, a bit of Europe, and unfortunately I'm not a multilingual person, and that really caused a little bit of language barrier problem, and especially where, you know some something is written on a foreign language, depending on where I am, where I was, and I didn't understand what it was, and the problem got exacerbated where in the superstores, because I have certain allergies. So I really needed to know what I'm buying. So I allowed my Google Lens to scan the language, and what it did, instead of the reality being replaced, it superimposed the translated version on top of the same language. It's just like on an augmented screen. So that's augmented reality. In the virtual reality, your surrounding to a is completely replaced by a simulated environment, and it's a full immersion. Now both augmented and virtual reality have their merits and demerits. So for augmented reality, you can superimpose things, but your reality is intact. Your reality is not replaced. So sometimes it's easier to connect with that, but you can't really fully experience that what the technology could have offered you. You can experience that in virtual reality world. However, you can't your surrounding is completely replaced by a simulated environment. I mean, there are museums like, in London, there is Vincent van Gogh's museum in virtual reality. There is you can experience Vincent van Gogh's creation, but again, it's completely replaced. Now, this mixed reality is trying to balance both, that you can feel the virtual stuff more than augmented reality. At the same time, it's not a complete replacement of the reality surrounding you. Now, the extended reality is a kind of like a combination of both, all the terms, like all the technologies, AR, VR, and MR. So it's a kind of like an umbrella term. Now let's look at some of the success stories. So the first one is Doritos. Anyone nacho lover or crisp lover? So those who they will understand that we need flavor, taste, and branding. Everything is important. Now, the fact is, for a nacho or a crisp company, for them, just differentiating based on flavor, taste, it's very difficult in a competitive market. So this company, Doritos, they came up with a very innovative idea. So they approached this company called Capitola VR. So they are VR based company, and they created some show. They hired some social media influencers to test one of the VR based Doritos battle game. Now the game is kind of like it's a shooting game where the ultimate aim is to climb a slopey mountain, achieve the high score. If you can go up to the top and collect the Doritos nachos. However, since it's a computer-based game, you 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 have to kind of like navigate through some of the obstacles, like there will be monsters or chances of falling through, and then jump over. And those social media stars, influencers, they use those VR glasses to try out those. Now, what are the benefits? So, as I said, just having a flavor or taste differentiation was not good enough for Doritos to stay competitive survive in a competitive market. So they came up with this new serial way of engaging with more younger customer, and these type of brand differentiation strategies using famous people or more popular people is not a new idea. I mean, in the past, many organizations have banked on celebrities to endorse their products. Now, because social media influencers are very popular in the modern era. So the company thought engaging with social media influencers will help them engage with more younger audience or younger customers who would like to buy their product. Next example is Turner Medical Research Solution, and this is an architectural solution provider for hospital, care homes, that type of organization. So they partnered with this company called WorldViz, and they created some sort of VR-based solution for these Riverside Shore Memorial Hospital in the US. And during the VIA drill, they could actually add, remove, move physicians, nurses, admin staff within that simulated environment. And they even allow the staff member of the hospital to be part of that experiment. Now, why did they do that? What kind of business impact they were trying to derive? Now, I'm sure you agree that once you have laid out your physical facilities, it's much time consuming and costly to change every now and then. So once it is there, once you have the layout and everything is there, it is there. It's going to be there for a while. Not You're not going to change it tomorrow or after a year, because that's going to be very expensive as well as time consuming activity. So if you can practice your layout, practice those architectural drill even before the architecture is laid out, then that is game changer. And that's exactly what this Turner Medical Facilities have done it. And it's also a more proactive way of engaging with their customers, which in this case was the hospitals. Now, my next example is somewhat closer to home, to be honest. So, this company interface, whose main role is to kind of like connect the industry with the universities in Scotland, it approached University of Edinburgh to create some sort of social media solutions for these two museums, one Lockhead Museum Trust and the Wheathorn Trust. Now, because the professors involved in University of Edinburgh had prior experience of engaging with VR and AR-based technologies, they knew straight away that if they can come up with some VR-based solution, then that will be a game changer. So what they did, the professors from Edinburgh University, they approached University of Glasgow and teamed up with University of Glasgow to get a grant from Economic and Social Research Council of UK, and they got £3,700, and additional £2,500 came from University of Edinburgh's Business School. So altogether, that money helped them to create virtual content for the museum. Now, it not only helped them to improve their social media footprint, but also there's a much, bigger social cause, because particularly this museum, Van Lockhead Museum, that has a key attraction is a mine. And to get to that mine, one has to go through a very narrow path. So people with mobility issues, it's much difficult for them to navigate to experience that mining. So what these VR sets can do, they can still let them to experience a mining adventure without actually going through that narrow path. So that helped the museum to address the social inclusion issue. Benefits. So the One Lockheed Museum ran that campaign in, if I'm not wrong, sometimes around the Christmas in 2021. And post that, they had 18,000 post engagement, 1,500 links, clicks, and the key purpose was to improve social media footprint. And look at the numbers, 17% increase in Facebook followers. And not only that, it was around the time when social distancing measures were in place due to COVID-19 restrictions. And so, meaning that the physical opening was not possible. However, they remained operational virtually, and it even triggered them to create some sort of virtual ticketing system with the help of the VR. So if I summarize the possible business impacts in, what can it do for you, the virtual reality in SMEs, it can create those wow effect, like, if you look at the Doritos example, you can create virtual showrooms, virtual factories, which is more operational. You can even have hands-on training, because as we all know that creating training where the trainers have to travel, that could be quite a costly one. And sometimes, companies can have a good training for risk mitigation. I mean, companies Shell, they have created some sort of VR-based solution for risk mitigation training for if their oil tankers get fire, then what to do, because we all can imagine that if they in reality if they have to set fire in those oil tankers to get to see how the people are reacting to that situation, it would have been costly and quite a risky affair. But with thanks to VR, they can simulate that and train their employees, and they can also have some effective product you know design, and you can have effective product development, design, and prototyping. Now let's move our focus onto some augmented reality experience. So I love this example. Just look at the picture on your right of your screen and the left. The right one is the reality, and the left on your screen is the augmented reality. So these furniture companies, many of them these days, are having this type of solution. So before we buy a furniture, we can try those apps to see for ourselves if the furniture we are planning to buy, is it going to fit in within the real space or not? If not, we can choose a different furniture. So it's quite a time saving and new way of engaging with customers. Timberland, the high street retailer, they created a AR-based mirror where you can actually snap yourself, create your own avatar, and then rest will be magic. With some clicks, you can try Timberland product offering to see for yourself on the mirror how you will look like if you are to wear those clothing without actually wearing those clothing. So again, a new way of engaging with customer. My last example is from this pub, and if I'm not wrong, the it's a pub chain called Punch Pubs, and they have a franchisee, if I'm not wrong, which is called the Redmore Inn, and it is in one of the English town called Rugeley, if I'm not pronouncing wrong. Now, what they have created, like they have the provision for families visiting them with young kids, and once the kids are there, they offer them some handouts, and the handouts have got shapes like aeroplanes, parachutes, all in black and white. And they also hand over some color pencils to the kids, and the kids can actually color those. And then the parents can actually scan those uh, papers, and rest will be magic. Those 2D objects could, fly. Okay. So again, it's a kind of like, new way of engaging with customer more through immersive tech, and happy families, happy memories, and parents can actually post those snapshots, videos onto their social media handle. So if I have to summarize the possible business impacts AR can offer is more engaged customer, next level experience you're allowing them to experience, time saving, the case of like, those furniture brands, or interactive product advertisement, like the cases of Timberland. So the mixed reality. So earlier I was saying about that both AR and VR have their limitations. So this mixed reality is in a way of like balancing two out. And Microsoft has got good resources. I would encourage you to, check those out for more information. So on that note, I would like to stop sharing for a moment, and I would like to hand over to my guest, Michael, for to allow Michael to share how they are using this immersive text in their organization. Over to you, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Leonard. Yep. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so Naladri, thank you for inviting me along today. And before I go sliding into the shares, I actually want to take time to talk about our own digital transformation. So I am creative director at Yellow Design, and really around 2018, about 6 years ago, we were like asking ourselves how to pivot. Where was the future of digital going, and how could we embrace it, even as a digital agency? And it's just the reward of taking maybe about 20% of our company at the time and actually trying to pivot. So it's managing risk. And I think that's the great thing about this digital transformation fund, and that there's revenue, there's capital spend. In this occasion, where you're going to actually be able to take maybe a part of your business and ask fundamental questions about where is the future of your business going. And that's really, it's proved to be worthwhile for ourselves. And I'd like to share the cases of how we're using AR and VR and immersive technology for our clients, but really how it's transformed our own business. So if I basically share my slides now, let me know if you're seeing that okay in the lad, right?
Yep.
A second. Yeah. So really for ourselves, there's different strands to the business. With AR 360, it was really working with a lot of our own existing clients here in the north of Ireland and actually further afield. Some of the names you'll recognise in regard to Thompson Aero or down in Portadown making aircraft seats, Conveyor Tech are up at Knott's Corner making conveyors belts. You've got the likes of Cubis and Lurgan, and then we've got international clients like Genko from China. But they've all got a common denominator, a common theme in regards to the business improvement. Exactly how is augmented reality, virtual reality, immersive technology going to improve their business? And this is where we have kind of been stepping in, and this will apply to yourselves. That you're trying to weigh up all these different technologies first and foremost. So in regards to, is it the virtual headsets, which are improving drastically over the last number of months and years, with the cost coming down? Can we make things widely available on desktop? With AR glasses coming on board, and then with even your own mobile device, your smartphone in your pocket. So it's a kind of balance out the working out the economics of your spend, especially in digital transformation, of what kind of technology is going to work best for you. Then there's also the content. As a company, you might find that you already have CAD models, you might already have SolidWorks or different files. Some can be customized and modeled, some can be made interactive and animation. But really, it is always answering this, asking this question of the business case. How can it improve? Can it be your customer engagement? Can it be improving your sales? Can it be improving internal training? And just different ways of asking yourselves where the actual business improvement is. And no doubt about it, with virtual reality and immersive technologies, it really is. We're all visual learners. I mean, we all like to be things to be simplified down in a very step-by-step manner. So, taking complex things like 360 rotations, being able to transparency and fading components away so you see the inner workings, step-by-step guides, almost exploding drawings and taking things wide apart. But also as well, just having like scaled down models, having things multilingual, having real-time data that actually look at the way, the amount of interactions, who's using what, what's getting uptake. And that was the most powerful thing for even for our own company, because you're really using a gaming engine or a physics engine that drives immersive technology. And every interaction that somebody does can be captured and basically brought through into a heat map or into tables or the graphs to display that interaction. So here's one example, just to bring in some visuals for you. So Genko is the Chinese company. They actually have not manufactured this product as yet, but they needed to get their sales guys out on the road. They needed to bring it to exhibitions in Munich there back in May. And they also needed to show their engineers and their engineers understanding all the products of it. So this is a recording from a VR experience. And really, you can see where we're actually bringing out all the inner workings, the components, every single element that explains all the key features in regards to safety, the chemicals, the chemistry, as much as the electricity and everything that's stored within this energy storage solution. But it was a lovely way to actually explain across an international company what their new 5 Series product looked like. And then in regards to training, just going across this briefly, we're seeing a lot of companies now looking towards training. But we do emphasize that, it's not just a case of sticking on a VR headset and everybody's going to be up to speed and up to par. There's a step beforehand where you actually need to learn and teach people best practice. Then, no doubt about it, they can put on a headset, they can go and simulate and practice without doing any real harm or damage. But also as well, as you said, because of the data, we're able to go and evaluate every key step of the way and look at that at the end of the journey and go, has that translated back in the real world, as we would call it? So here's some local companies, Cubis down in Lurgan, and they were having an issue in regards to product improvement and quality control. That this chamber that they built, in many ways, some people were actually assembling the wrong way around and drilling circular holes, large holes into it. You can see there with that pump that blue unit is going through. And all of a sudden, the whole thing was having to be literally binned. So they came to us and says, is there a way that we can actually do a step-by-step guide in the same way that Naladri said about, IKEA, a simple step-by-step guide so people could really understand how to assemble these in the right way. And again, a great improvement for their business. Thompson Aero also had a business case where, and a business improvement, where Airbus and Boeing were asking that the electrics, the heirlooms within the business class seats were all led the same way. So again, the staff and the engineers at Thompson Aero were able to follow a step-by-step guide and improve on, let's say, quality control. And then Conveyor Tech up at Nuts Corner. This was a brilliant one because they had made the parcel sorter, which was a really brilliant solution for sorting out parcels, as it says, for Royal Mail. But they'd only built one product, but they wanted to go and engage in all the different sorting offices in Plymouth, in Edinburgh, across the UK. And using iPads, they were literally able to go around, hold up the iPad. The iPad drew out the footprint required for installation. So they were able to say to Royal Mail, yes, we need 5 meters by 17 meters clear. They were able to talk to the electricians, the engineers, people who were going to involve in the install, and actually sell these products without only having one back at their own base. So it was a brilliant example. And as I say, just in regards to training or anything, that every single thing can be captured to find out about the usage. So that's really in regards to the different things what we've done with AR360 in regards to configurators, training, ways of sales tools, but also for ourselves, we've been very fortunate, as I say, specialising in augmented and virtual reality, and that Aldar is one of the biggest property developers in Abu Dhabi. So they built the Louvre Museum and the Guggenheim, but fundamentally they came to us and they were like, "Is it possible to?" First question was to build something like this in augmented reality, so you could actually see a full scale apartment block. But they really were clever, and they went back and were asking, "Can we do more than that? As a business improvement, can we enhance the customer experience? So we're not seen just for taking transactions and money of our customers, but bring them on a journey. Can we accelerate the use of AR and immersive technologies? Can we advance our sustainability? So in regards to reducing print materials, which is always associated with property marketing. Can we improve on decision making because they were having an issue where people were ripping out their kitchens when they got their new apartments? And can we help people configure in that way? Again, can we get our real-time data insights? And also, is there a way for us to generate new revenue? Because they were always known for building the physical units, the apartment blocks, but never taking revenue from the fit out, the furniture, and things like that. So running workshops, and this is really what I would encourage yourselves to do. Literally stick the post-it notes to the wall, and get the ideas from your whole entire team, what issues, what problems you could maybe address within the company, and basically putting that through. Because even they came back with some brilliant ideas across the board. The furnishing options down the bottom left-hand corner. Is it able to walk around, not just the apartment block, but walk around the whole entire streets and see what view you're going to have from your property? The snagging list is a way as to after sales and the service. So we essentially built this through, available on the iPads and people's smart devices. And then on the left, you're going to see here actually that the whole building here, the white building on the left, is completely augmented. There you go with real buildings there in the background. We added in sounds and things like that to bring the customer on the journey. So you hear birds whistling and so on. And you'll be able to actually even see this as well at nighttime. So go into like night mode, things like that. Then, of course, within the property, as you'd expect as a configurator, people were able to go around and essentially up in the top left-hand corner, you'd always have the bearings of where you are within the property. But now I'm able to go around and start changing the furniture and the floors and the different surfaces. And this helped Aldar in regards to knowing what specifications to build to. So they were able to speed up their whole construction and fit out, and actually while improving the customer experience, who felt more engaged in the creation of their own home rather than just sending 25% of the down payments every single time. There's a lovely example in the quality that you're able to achieve just by using our latest smartphone devices. And then we extended that out. So in regards to making people aware as a brand experience, their payment and their process, progress report, what's happening in the whole development, and then customer support, come and see the showroom, customer support, but also after sales and aftercare, that just using the same device, capture a photograph and let us know if there's anything, a cracked tile or hairline cracks in the paint or plaster. And that just shows a holistic approach of how Aldar went through digital transformation on how they sell now their property. But that could be not just for property. You might have different physical products and a configurator required just to help people visualize and understand exactly what your products are doing. And then this other area here, what I'm just going to go across, the third strand of our business is Rover, which is actually in the tourism. So Naladri touched upon museums, different experiences and different ways of engaging customer visitors and historical and different events. So we're probably best known that we have created the likes of Titanic at full scale down at Thompson Dock, working with the Titanic distillers, and people just using iPads and smartphones are able to see Titanic completely at full scale in Thompson Dock. And we're able to use transparencies and let people see within it and capture photographs, which is amazing that people are able to then take photographs and share out on social media. So anybody on the call within tourism, like they're just showing you that really the art of the possible in these next few slides. Also in regards to the peace walls and kind of chronicle order. So you'll see these walkable trails is also a very common thing within augmented reality. So here is the chronicle order of basically the Troubles, going from 1969 right through to the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, interactive with different videos and footage and different things going on. And the key thing to this is that it was also delivered multilingual, so supporting our local tour guides and basically putting that through. So I'll play a quick video of actually letting you see exactly how this kind of works. So scan the activation code, and all of a sudden the walls came to life.
Good evening. Here's an illustrated summary of the news, the latest film of events and happenings here at home in Northern Ireland. During August 1960.
Yeah, so that's just an example, just showing you some local examples. There's Narnia, that's C.S. Lewis Square. So sometimes you hear the things about gamification, and you might have a thing to gamify your own tourist attraction. So with C.S. Lewis Square, we basically made it when you approach from the Newtonards Road, a virtual wardrobe appears. You can go around C.S. Lewis Square, which I always laugh because it's a circle, and go and collect the lantern, the bow, the Turkish light for the points. And again, because Immersive is using gaming technology, you'll see that the quality of what's able to be produced to create Narnia. And this is what it looks like when you look through your own personal smartphone and device. And the gamification, and this one actually has immersive sounds and soundscapes. And as you see, just the quality that's able to be produced, it's quite phenomenal in that sense. And then just quick ones of anybody in tourism. A lovely series that we're using across Ipswich. And this is allowing characters being placed across. Kids can get involved in creating and meeting their own superheroes. And then these environments are basically being placed, 12 in total across Ipswich, all part of their digital strategy. And I say business improvement to get people into the city centre to spend money within the shops. So the school children's artwork there on the right hand side is integrated within the experience, and as I say, basically puts that through. So in many ways, that's really the great thing about it. And then just to mention, the data can be captured, heat mapped, and then all of a sudden you're getting intelligent data insights for the stakeholders and making the future decision making. So in many ways, there's a good snapshot of what we do in our studio. And there's my details there if anybody wants to check it out. But rover.com, and I say I'm more happy to take questions and answers later. Andrew, yeah?
Thanks, Michael, and that was very insightful. So let's quickly look through some of the further help and support mechanisms, and then in the end, I will open the floor for Q&A for all of you. So earlier, I have talked about that one of the key things as part of your DTFA journey is you need to write down a kind of a business case equivalent that you have a digital transformation plan. Now, we do understand it's not something you do every day. So at times it could come as a daunting task for many of you. It may not as well. Now, from our experience from the last three calls, we found that that is one area where often the applicants have struggled. Now, you call it fortunately or unfortunately, we cannot directly assist you by stating how and what should you write, okay, in your application. And the reason is quite obvious because we from the, our end, William J. Clinton Leadership Institute, we are one of the delivery partners. So for avoidance of conflict of interest, we need to kind of take our hands off that direct, hands-on helping approach. However, I'm here gonna show you some of the further help and support mechanism which you can perhaps think about. Those are more of a longer term solution, I should say, that will help you to kind of like, it's the purpose of these support mechanisms is to kind of like train you, educate you, enhance your knowledge around those technology and what it can do for you, that type of thing, so that you yourself are very much prepared for writing up those transformation plans. So you can approach us, William J. Clinton Leadership Institute at Queen's University Belfast, and you can also approach further education colleges in across Northern Ireland. University of Ulster has got a data hub. Local councils have Go Succeed program, or Innovate. You can approach Innovate NI to explore what are the training and opportunities or similar support mechanisms they have, or any other similar support mechanism you have identified which might be beneficial for you to get ready for those DTFF type of applications. For more information, what I would suggest you, please visit the website dtff.co.uk/further support. Now, as I was saying, that we have various training and educational opportunities, and that includes some custom design program, executive courses, or short programs like strategic change, uh, leadership for digital transformation and emerging technologies, or data analytics and decision making. And all these recordings will be available on our YouTube channel, and you can check those out later on if you have missed out something. And as I have said at the beginning, that this is a part of a webinar series, so we still have got 2 more webinars to go on 19th and 26th of November. So do feel free to register, and the QR code is there. So that's pretty much it. So I'll just wait for a quick moment in case anyone is scanning the QR code, and then I will open the Q&A. Okay, so that kind of concludes the presentation part. So I would like to thank you everyone for your patience and engagement with us. And I would also like to thank Michael for the insightful presentation. So any questions for us? Feel free to type it out or shout out by turning on your microphone. Okay, so some of you are typing, so let's wait. So in the meantime, I can ask you a quick question, Michael. So what type of challenges did you encounter when you were kind of like having those, AR projects in Abu Dhabi or some of the other projects near Belfast, and what are the potential solutions, or what was the approach you took it to overcome those? Because I'm sure those who are prospective, those who are planning to apply AR or VR in their organization, they may go through the same journey. So would you like to share?
Yeah, for us, it was two halves to it. One was accelerating that you were using new technologies and exciting, but actually balancing that off that you were still generating revenue and profitable as a business. Do you know what I mean? It's this risk that you can pivot, but you can pivot in the wrong way and find out that you're playing with exciting toys, but they're delivering very little, or in our case, and hopefully with the right guidance to yourselves and everybody on the call, you're actually taking a small part of the business and actually all of a sudden it starts generating additional revenue. And without going into great detail, but we end up tripling our revenue in the space of like 24 months. So we did find that golden thread and basically just following it. Now you have to always ask questions, and that thread will change different direction and shape over the last 6 years. But it's been consolidated and it's just constantly pivoting. And I don't mind saying that I think to be entrepreneurial and innovating, it's okay to pivot and pivot like every 6, 12 months, whatever it needs to do, because the markets will change also and you have to capitalize on it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's very insightful, and thank you very much. So, yeah, so thanks for the session. I have to fly up. All right, okay. So it looks like you will get some follow-up questions, Michael. So, yeah.
Yep.
Any question for us
Yeah.
from our audience?
I'm available at Michael at Rover. Now Rover spelled ROVAR.com, but anybody's feel free to send me an email, whatever. I'm more than happy to try to guide you in regards to your DTFF application.
Thanks,
Because I
Michael.
totally appreciate that Immersive Technologies is quite a broad range now and moving quite fast.
Yeah, and for our audience, just to let you know, my colleague Sean has already shared a file at the beginning of the this webinar. So that file in the chat box itself, and that file has got some of the key details as well, including Michael's details. So yeah, you can check those out as well. So if there is no, so just one final time, if there is anyone having any final question now, it might be easier if you can just turn on your microphone and shout out. Otherwise, we'll assume that, yeah, you don't have any question.
No problem. Thank you, Jim.
No, okay. So it seems all good then. So thanks everyone for joining us today, and hope you have gathered some take-home message for yourself, like what are those immersive technologies and what it could do, and if it is for you or not. And thanks, Michael, for sharing those insights. So thanks, Evans. Thanks, everyone. And so that I can now officially conclude this webinar then.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Really.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.